This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Brand new details to share tonight regarding that tragic crash on I-65 in Boone County that left 2 young adults and a baby dead. We are now getting the truck driver's story about what happened that caused him to slam into several vehicles.
How did this happen? You tell me. I don't know.
Imagine a stranger walking into a bank and taking $5,000 out of your account. That happened to one local man, and the bank still has not refunded his money. How could this happen? We are working to find out.
We're dry tonight and tomorrow, but then the focus shifts to heavy rain potential. I'll have the timeline.
Concerns mounting over major changes planned at Broad Ripple Park. Why some people don't want a new, larger community center to be built. The fears they are sharing tonight. Good evening, and thanks for being here with us. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starantino. First at 6, brand new details about the fiery crash on I-65 in Boone County that killed 2 young adults and a baby.
New court records reveal what the semi-truck driver whose rig slammed into several vehicles says happened. We get right to RTV6's Cornelius Hawker, who has those court records. And Cornelius, what are you finding out from them tonight?
Yeah, Mark, in this probable cause affidavit, we learned several reasons why Matthew Small has been charged with 3 counts of reckless homicide. As authorities went over the crash scene, it was determined he did not use his brakes until after hitting the first car. Small admitted he was talking to his wife through a headset and had reached down to take a drink of coffee. As he was placing the cup back in the holder, that's when he noticed traffic was stopped ahead of him. And despite him dropping his cup and grabbing the steering wheel, it was too late. He plowed into several cars, injuring several people and killing 3 of them, 2 adults and a baby. The victims have been identified by authorities as Mariah Tomey, her 1-year-old son, and Kaylee Kirk, who was actually going by the name Caden at the time of their death. Now, Small told authorities he doesn't remember hitting all the cars, but said things happened so quickly it seemed like a blur, and we are still waiting on the toxicology results to see if Small was under the influence of anything. Amanda?
A man is out $5,000 after he says someone walked into a bank and withdrew money from his account. He's been calling Chase Bank for over a week now, trying to find out what happened. RTV6's Stephanie Wade is working for you tonight to get to the bottom of this and get his money back.
On December 27th, Mark Godby showed me the alert he received on his phone that $5,000 was withdrawn from his account from this Chase Bank location in Wanamaker, Indiana. Problem is, he says it wasn't him.
Who did it?
We don't know.
While recovering on his couch from surgery in Claremont, Indiana, Mark Godby was puzzled when an alert came through his phone notifying him of his successful withdrawal of $5,000 from his personal savings account. Attached to the Chase Bank mobile app notification was a copy of the withdrawal slip.
The signature is illegible. My name is printed very clearly across the top of the withdrawal slip.
That's not your handwriting.
Of course not.
He says he never withdrew the money, called Chase, who told him someone took the money out under his name.
You have to produce 2 types of identification for this to even happen.
Chase has yet to return the money to him or provide him with an explanation as to what went wrong.
Nothing's happened so far, and no information has been shared to me about how these monies were walked out of the bank.
But after we reached out to Chase today, they tell us it was an isolated human error and are crediting the customer's account back. They regret this happened and are working to make it right. Working for you, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
If you ever have a question or issue with your account, Chase says call the customer service line on the back of your card. If you have any kind of issue that you can't seem to get answers about, let us know. Email us at workingforyou@rtv6.com. And just into the RTV6 newsroom, IPL is warning customers of payment scams regarding their power bill. The company says someone is calling customers claiming to represent IPL and saying electric service will be disconnected within 30 minutes if payment is not immediately made. If this happens to you, immediately hang up the phone. Do not provide personal information and do not pay any money. Call IPL to report the scam.
New at 6, the man who led police on a chase and eventually caused a crash that killed an innocent bystander passenger, has now been charged in Marion County. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office has charged Marcel Carter with reckless homicide, resisting law enforcement, carrying a handgun without a license, and marijuana possession. On December 30th, Metro Police tried to pull over the man as part of a federal firearms investigation into an October shooting. According to court documents, police say Carter matched their suspect's description, but it turns out he was not the same person they were looking for. The chase crossed into Hancock County, then back into Marion County, where Carter is accused of running a red light and crashing into another vehicle. The driver of that car died.
Just a little after 6 o'clock, we're at 39 degrees. We're dry now, and we'll stay that way for the next 24 hours. So let's jump to when there's a change in the forecast. That is Thursday. Temperatures come back up, way back up, and our rain chances will increase as well, starting late Thursday. I would say after sunset Thursday, and then rain, potentially heavy, settles in Friday and Saturday. By heavy, 2 to 4 inch with isolated higher amounts possible. We had a decent amount of rain in December after we melted the snow, so the ground is pretty wet, soft, nearly saturated. That will set up flooding potential. Just to show you here, a couple different models forecasting, in some cases, well over 3 inches of rain. Here's a more widespread computer model of all of central Indiana. So I do think this will cover all of central Indiana. That is down the road a little bit, just if you're headed out this evening. Have confidence, a nice evening in progress. Temperatures staying in the 30s through 10 o'clock.
Community Health Network says it is cooperating with federal investigators since it's been named in a Medicare fraud lawsuit. Community Health is accused of submitting false Medicare claims from doctors who got a kickback from the hospital company for making a certain number of referrals. The suit claims the hospital network paid physicians involved well above fair market value and paid bonuses to doctors for referring Medicare patients to Community Health Network facilities and procedures. This all boils down to the hospital network allegedly having inappropriate financial exchanges with doctors and billing the federal government. Community released a statement to RTV6 saying, quote, Community Health Network is committed to upholding the highest regulatory and ethical standards in all of our business practices, including physician compensation. We have cooperated fully with the government's request leading up to this point, and we are disappointed with their decision. We believe that it is a waste of the government's time and resources to pursue these meritless claims. By the way, Community Health is one of the largest employers and hospital companies in central Indiana.
It's strictly about keeping parks for people, keeping parks for recreation.
Some Northside residents are expressing concerns tonight over a plan to make some major changes at Broad Ripple Park. A brand new, larger community center is in the works there. Megan Sanctorum is working for you to find out why some say a new building is not needed and why they are worried about what it will be used for.
This former library turned family center at Broad Ripple Park could soon be demolished and replaced with a brand new expanded facility.
Bigger, better, nicer, and offer so many more classes and serve so many more residents.
The new facility would have a gym, track, group fitness, and multi-use rooms, and it would also house primary care facilities for Community Health Network. It's a partnership leaders with Indy Parks say would help provide funding for the $19 million facility.
With limited funds at Indy Parks, we stretch those dollars that we get really, really far, but to build a new family center just takes an enormous amount of capital dollars that we don't have in our budget.
But the project has some worry.
We don't see any need for doctor's office in the park.
Bill Malcolm created a Facebook group for those who oppose the project. He does not want to see Community Health Network operating on Indy Park's land.
It should be limited to park and recreational uses or supplemental to that. There's no connection between a doctor's office and sick people going to Broad Ripple Park.
He also doesn't see a need for new construction.
We have so much vacant space in the Broad Ripple area and the Glendale area, it just seems foolish. There's no need to use precious parkland.
The plan is still in the design phase, and leaders say they have a few more hearings with the city, but they hope to break ground on the new facility within the next few months. Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
In new developments, Governor Eric Holcomb has opened the door to boosting teacher pay this year after originally saying that likely would not be focused on until 2021.
Yeah, and that tops the RTV6 news feed tonight. The governor says hasn't given any details of what he would propose during his annual State of the State speech next week. But a top legislative Democrat promised his party would push for more school funding after a November rally that drew several thousand teachers to the State House. The 2020 legislative session began Monday.
And tonight, Indy Humane is putting out a call for donations to help pets that are suffering during the cold winter months. The Rescue Relief Program, based at the Indy Humane Downtown Clinic, is asking for pet food, blankets, litter, toys, and crates to restock their inventory. The Rescue Relief Program will then distribute these supplies to local animal welfare organizations. You can drop off donations at Indy Humane's Michigan Road Adoption Center or the Indy Humane Downtown Clinic.
U.S. embassies in multiple countries outside the Middle East are issuing security alerts to United States citizens. Embassies in France, Algeria, and Morocco issued alerts today warning of heightened tension in the Middle East that may result in security risks to U.S. citizens abroad. Governments and companies around the world are trying to decide how to respond after a U.S. airstrike killed a top Iranian general near Baghdad's airport last week, and Iran vowed harsh retaliation.
A 77-year-old man in Bartholomew County now faces preliminary charges of murder and domestic battery after a stabbing this morning. The Bartholomew County Sheriff's Office says deputies arrested James Mee in connection to a stabbing on Scott Street in Hope, Indiana, that left one person dead. The victim has identified has been identified as 50-year-old Charles A. Mee of Hope. Investigators say there is no danger to the public.
At least 24 people have been arrested as part of a major drug sting in Kokomo. Police there say they made around 70 undercover drug buys during the 5-month operation. They involve meth, heroin, cocaine, and other controlled substances. These pictures that you see are of 5 other suspects Kokomo police are still looking for.
IMPD is once again asking for your help to solve a frightening case on the west side. IMPD says on December 6th, just before noon, a Buick Regal with tinted windows slowly rolled through the parking lot of Crown Liquors at 15 North Beachway Drive, right off of Rockville Road. And police say the person in the car fired shots at a person in another car. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. And there is a $1,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. Deadly crime continues to be a problem around Indianapolis.
And the Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police is trying to step in. They take their concerns to the State House and propose a plan they think could bring about change.
A new era at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway finalized yesterday. Roger Penske, first full day on the job today. One-on-one with RP in the Sports Extra Spotlight coming up.
And it's time to watch the thermometer over the next couple of days until some rain arrives. That warming trend will take temperatures that should be in the mid-30s this time of year, put them in the 50s. But we'll talk about what comes with the surge of warmth in just a couple minutes.
Yes, hurry this over ends Thursday, January 9th. This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
With the concern of crime and violence around central Indiana, the Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police took their plan to clean up the streets to the Indiana State House.
Fraternal Order of Police President Rick Snyder spoke to a state Senate committee today. Snyder says the murders, assaults, neglect cases, and drug deals are not just an Indianapolis issue. He says crime in the Circle City is trickling to other areas of the state, which is why he says every lawmaker at the State House should be concerned with what is happening. According to Snyder, one problem is that it's too easy for many criminals to get out of jail and go back on the streets.
For example, those arrested in Marion County receive an automatic $500 bond for the following felony arrest, which I would suggest to you all involve violence. They're felony battery, criminal confinement, criminal gang activity, criminal recklessness, escape, intimidation, pointing a firearm, residential entry, resisting law enforcement, stalking, and strangulation. All of those, if you're arrested in Marion County, you get a $500 cash bond.
The Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police is asking state and local leaders to say they are outraged by the current crime numbers. They also want to create a public database to track criminal conviction histories. Rick Snyder says that violence index would give officers a more complete picture of what is going on with a person to see if they should be released or kept in jail. Kevin.
Lots of sunshine today and more sunshine on the way tomorrow. In between, we'll fall into the 20s tonight with mostly clear skies. 38 in Zionsville, 41 in Edinburgh. Where's the warmer air going to come from? As we get to Thursday, we'll start to feel the warm air pulled from the southwest, and that will also bring moist air our way and increase our rain potential and also rainfall amounts. Just want to show you late this week, there'll be a storm system that winds up from the southwest. We're on the mild side of this. It will will pull temperatures well into the 50s, close to 60 degrees. The cold side stays to our northwest, meaning this will be another rain event. And by event, may see 2 to 4 inches with locally higher amounts possible in that stretch from Thursday night to Saturday night. I think Friday night into Saturday, probably the period of heaviest rainfall. One way to keep track of all of the changes is with our app. I'll show you more about that in a second. Temperatures tomorrow, colder. We're in the mid-30s. That's where we should be for January. This is where we will be as we go toward the end of the week. And as I mentioned, whenever we have big changes in the weather, you can find our Storm Shield app. Very helpful. It is free. That's number one. It's for your iPhone or Android device, and you get alerts straight to your phone. Nothing to be alert for tomorrow other than temperatures that stay just above the freezing mark. 28 at noon. Lots of sunshine around. It won't be too windy. Temperature maxes out at about 35 degrees in Indianapolis. A little cooler north. Just a little warmer as we get to the south. The wind on Thursday, that's the first hint of a change. The wind out of the southeast at over 20 miles per hour will pick up in strength through the day, come to the south, and gust anywhere from 30 to almost 40 miles per hour, pulling the warmth in. These overnight lows will stay really mild as well, and that will charge the atmosphere with plenty of moisture to be dropped in some periods of heavy rain. Thursday's high, responding to the change in wind direction. We're at 51. We'll end up warmer than that as we get to Friday and Saturday. Thursday night at 7 o'clock, rain just starting to develop. By 11, should have fairly widespread rainfall. Some pockets of heavier rain overnight into Friday morning. We'll do that over again, especially Friday night and through the day Saturday with some periods of heavy rainfall. We'll put that behind us, open the door to cooler temperatures Sunday, cooler, not colder. 43, that's still above average. Monday and Tuesday, temperatures right around 50 degrees. I'm anxious to hear from our special guest today.
Yes, Dave First is at a nice little celebration at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and it's not about basketball.
I know. In the spring, we talk about Pacers and Racers, right? Well, it's January, still in a way. Here we're live tonight at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Earlier tonight, a very special reception as really the state of Indiana embraces this sale to Roger Penske and Penske Corporation, finalized yesterday as Penske Corp now has taken over the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's flashback a couple hours ago or so here. Pretty swanky. Had to keep her head on a swivel. A lot of big wigs here. Hosted, of course, by the governor, Eric Holcomb. It was Mayor Joe Hogsett. He was also here, but perhaps more importantly, Tony George and the Holman George family well represented as well. Certainly all of this is with their blessing as they transfer things after 74 years of stewardship. Rogers race team, as you may know, 18 Indy 500, 16 IndyCar titles, but all of that really is pushed aside now as he follows in the footsteps of Carl Fisher, Eddie Rickenbacker, and Tony Holman to build racing and the race track. One-on-one tonight in the Sports Extra Spotlight.
Was there a sense of relief or just what the accomplishment there? What was that like yesterday, Ron?
Well, it's amazing. The people that were handling the finalization of the transaction were in one room. I was out on the track walking around with the people. I didn't really know when the money was transferred. All I knew was going to be on January 6, 2020. But just to think about going back to 51 when I came here with my dad as a 14-year-old kid, to think that I might someday own the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is
still crazy, isn't it?
Oh, it's I can't believe it.
It's been 2 months now since the announcement. You have literally been full bore at attacking this. What have you found in those 2 months?
Well, number one, I found a lot of great people. I think Mark Miles and the team, outstanding. Overall, it's an amazing place, the structure, the 1,000 acres, and the opportunities to utilize this in a world-class way. I don't want everybody to be able to get on this track, for $2,500. We want this to be a real occasion, a real experience. And how can we keep the guest experience where it is? We spent many hours in meetings, guest experience, what can we do?
Right.
And I would think that our commitment today is not to build something that's maybe going to give us more revenue, but what can we do? And we're going to spend several $1 million between now and race day, or 1st of May, to make the guest experience better, and that's my commitment. And those things we hope that we can announce 100 days out.
When you think about the impact, it's literally a Super Bowl every year that this city is hosting, which is phenomenal when you think about it. And you've hosted the Super Bowl in Detroit several years ago. But everyone just wants to know about changes. Can you speak to anything, whether it's the purse, whether it's, how the guest experience will change? What do you have your eye on so far, Rob?
I think all the above.
Right.
I think we've looked at the purse. We've certainly looked at many things that we can do. Can we bring other events in associated, with the race? But absolutely, we're going to make a difference.
It's only the beginning, but definitely a new era. Congratulations.
Well, Dave, thank you, and I've known each other for a long time, and I think you play a role out there at the track. And, we're going to look to the media. We're going to look to people like yourself. How can we connect better? When people talk about where you're from, well, I'm from Indianapolis. First thing they say, Indy 500.
I don't know if you caught that, though. Several millions dollars spent this year leading up to the month of May. And as Roger told the assembled group here, they've already sold 75% of the tickets for the 104th running of the Indy 500. He's still here, by the way. How tireless is he at 82 years old? Quickly wrap things up with some NFL news. Coaching carousel continues, wrapping things up. Really, 2 more vacancies filled today. Patriots special teams coordinator Joe Judge, he'll be the next man with the New York Giants, while Baylor head coach Matt Rule will be the next man with the Carolina Panthers. And chew on this, both teams had Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels on their interview list, but he never got one. They liked the other 2 instead. Of course, it was a couple years ago, McDaniels put the Colts through all that fiasco, accepting the job and then saying no and so forth. I think he'll probably end up, though, with the Cleveland Browns before it is all said and done. Roger Penske era underway now at IMS. The News at 6 continues after this.
On Sobers. Fish, yeah.
Up next here on RTV6 is World News with David Muir.
Thanks for making RTV6 your choice for news. We'll be right back here at 7.